Without any further ado, I will start the webinar by inviting His Excellency Jolke Oppewal, Ambassador of the Kingdom of the Netherlands to the Republic of Mali, to answer my first question. Ambassador Jolke, good to have you here. Could you give us an update on the current situation in Mali and say something about the health and economic impact of COVID-19 in the country?
Yes, sure. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Marina. Thanks very much for organizing this opportunity to meet a community of people interested in Mali and in what to do and what can be done in Mali when it comes to private sector development and opportunities. So thanks very much. Let me first say a few words about COVID in Mali. Until now, the first cases were there around 25th of March. There are over 2,000 confirmed cases and 114 reported deaths. And the number has been going up slowly. So in fact, if you look at the total numbers now after 3 months, you cannot say that it's very impressive in numbers. And of course, we never know what the future will look like. It might be, we don't know. There's a lot of unknowns about how the virus spreads itself around the world. Some countries, it goes rapidly, otherwise it goes very slowly. And Mali is among the slow ones. So it's there and it's increasing, but until now, levels that are not very much frightening. But once again, you don't know what will happen in future. When it comes to government, they were, I think, having a good and timely response to the corona. That's to say that it was quite soon analyzed that the virus comes from abroad, so you need to control what's coming into the country. And very soon we've seen a closing down of the airspace, so no more flights coming in. And until today, we're still in the situation that the airport is closed, except for military flights, and some other flights, like Air France is now having in total 6 flights last week and this week that can't bring people in, but that can bring people out. So closing of the airspace was one of the measures. Then we've seen a pretty not very radical lockdown. That's to say, markets have always remained open. Government has been active in propagating the use of mouth masks and keeping social distancing and having the hygiene in place. But for the remainder, it has been a pretty loose approach, knowing that it would be very difficult in Mali, in Bamako, in the country, to impose a very strong lockdown and closing markets, etc. We've seen a bit of popular uprising against one of the measures, which was an evening clock, starting 9 o'clock in the evening. That one has been lifted. And in fact, if you look now at the regional approach, we hope that soon the airport will reopen again. It's a regional approach. In Senegal, yesterday, the president announced reopening of its airspace 15th of July. And in the region, we don't know yet, it's up to government, and they are very keen on having this control themselves, which is quite good. But it might very well be that in regional coordinated approach, airplanes might arrive again, let's say from beginning of August. But I can't guarantee that. It's up to the Malians to decide upon that. So pretty, the virus is there, people are aware of it, although there are also people who don't believe it. But of course, what interests you is impact on the economy and the growth. And there the impact is much higher than the impact thus far when it comes to the number of confirmed cases. So according to our forecasts, IMF forecasts, I think are broadly shared by most experts, say that growth would slow down this year from around 5% to around 1% or even a bit less. Which of course for the economy of Mali is quite a severe diminution of the growth rate. On the other hand, the international community is firmly supporting Mali. There has come in money from the IMF, EU budget support to maintain the economy going, to be sure that the fiscal deficit doesn't go up rapidly and that the economy continues running. And some of the products of Mali, like gold and cotton, are not doing too bad in prices and in world markets. So it could be a temporary decrease in growth, which once borders are open again, quickly could return to normal. That's to be seen, but that's the forecasts for now. And then a final word I would like to say as introduction. Of course, private sector and investments are and will remain very important for Mali. It's the motor, the engine of economic growth. But for that, you also need a government. You need a government in place. You need good governance for the private sector and for the wider for the wider Malian audience, including fighting corruption and having strong institutions. Well, that's at the moment quite a debate in Mali. There's a strong resistance against bad governance. And at the moment, we have been for a few weeks now without a government. And we hope that soon from all of this will result a newly appointed government with a strong backing in the country, which will take things at hand and will lead the country through this COVID crisis and through the economic and partly security crisis that we're still in. Those are my main messages. We as NABC, we're still open. We're here with our people. We're here with our programs. Some programs need to be adjusted, that's for sure. But our efforts to intensify our relations with the Sahel continue. And that's, I hope, together with our partners in the private sector. I would leave it with that for now, Marina, in order not to be too long.
Thank you very much, Ambassador Jolke. You talked about the situation, how Mali responded to COVID-19, the pandemic. You also mentioned the slowdown of economic growth, but it's very important you mentioned how important private sector and investment remain very much at the center for economic development of the country. We are also here joined by the director of API Mali, Mr. Moussa Touré. Moussa, are you there?
Yes, Marina.
Yes, okay. Could you please maybe add something on how the Malian government has responded to the crisis to mitigate the economic risk, and say something about the support that has been given to Malian companies?
Okay, once again, I will add to what the Excellency said. Thank you for this opportunity to talk about Mali, which is not usually on news on the good side. So, but we are here to share the good information. And regarding COVID-19 effects, the government decided to implement many measures based on what the private sector asked themselves, the private sector organizations and actors. So those measures will cost to the government roughly 800 million euros. That is quite big for Mali budget, but the situation needs this kind of decisions. Those measures are related to tax rebate for impacted companies by COVID-19. Also additional 20 billion CFA, which is 30 million euros provision for the private sector guarantee fund to support SMEs and FMIs. Clearance of the all domestic debt recorded at the end of 2019. So the government decided to clean all its debt due to businesses. And also the government decided the payment of 2020 invoices due by the state for 100 billion CFA, which is 150 million. And then the government decided the restructuration program of the credit for all companies affected by the COVID-19. So you see, these measures aim to reduce the effect of COVID on different kind of enterprises, and especially reduce the financial burden and the cash requirement for them in this difficult situation.
Thank you, Moussa. And can you maybe say something about the sectors that have been most affected by the crisis?
Yes, so as we all know, all sectors are affected, but we can talk about the financial sector, because Mali is a big country of trade. So due to logistic problems, so trade is going down, trade activities. Also, the production area is also affected. So that is all those slowdown affect the state incomes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Thank you. And thank you very much, Moussa. We talk about private sector, how the government has responded to support them during this crisis. And we're very happy to have here among us the private sector representative, an entrepreneur, Aminata Tandia, CEO of Smart Markets. Very welcome, Aminata. Could you please say something about your company and how you have been coping during this crisis?
Well, first of all, I want to thank you all to inviting me, and so thank you. So Smart Markets is the first e-commerce platform in Mali which allowed you to do your online shopping while you're staying at home. We have a website and a mobile application. Therefore, payment is made by Orange Money or by Visa card, and we deliver to whatever you want in Mali and in international. We offer fruits, vegetables, poultry, fish, and dairy products, or many other products in the supermarket. Yeah. So while the global economy has come to a virtual standstill in many sectors due in the continent, the e-commerce, so like Smart Markets, has been able to take advantage of this position to continue to function and increase the market share. So we didn't have any problem while other people like the trade in Mali had a lot of problems. So we deliver a lot of people like every day, and one of the first observation linked to the crisis is that the e-commerce seems to have held up relatively while compared to the rest of the economy. Voilà.
Would you say, Aminata, that you saw your sales really jumping, growing due to the crisis compared to the period before? Yeah?
Yeah. We had more than 50% of our economy held up. Yeah.
Okay. So that's for a while. Some other companies are really suffering and trying to keep their head up. You are more active and busy than ever. Okay. And thank you very much, Aminata. I will come back to you in a moment. And another representative of private sector this time from the Netherlands we have among us is Menno Verbrugge, Export Manager Africa with Koudijs. Welcome, Menno. You represent a Dutch company that is active in Mali, and we are very also curious to know how your company and business activities have been affected by the recent developments, and to know what the prospects are for the rest of the year.
Thank you, Marina, for the invitation to participate. Koudijs is exporting animal feed concentrates to Mali. We started in 2012. And it really took off from 2015 when we started to visit and look locally at the opportunity to develop the market. This year we've seen that COVID-19 is not so much of a health crisis probably for Mali, but it has more an economic impact, the local lockdown. Although Mr. Oppewal calls it a loose lockdown, we saw that farmers were reluctant to place day-old chicks because they were afraid that they could not sell the broilers ready for slaughter, as hotels and restaurants didn't have any visitors because all the flights were cancelled. And a third possible reason for economic difficulties is that I think and believe people in Europe from Mali cannot send so much money home. So this is also drying up. So as a result, we saw a bad situation in the animal feed market for some weeks, but the people in Mali are resilient and they are very flexible. And we saw that after a month or two, there was already an improvement. And in fact, June has been very good for the sales of our importers. And as a result, in the first 6 months, we have sold more in Mali than we did last year. So our expectations for the second half of the year are good. I believe that as a result of this bad situation due to the COVID-19 lockdown, for all participants in the sector, it is clear now that we have to invest more in the complete chain, also in local hatcheries, feed mills, to be less dependent on the imports. And we also see that there is a strengthening of the South-South cooperation. So people have started to import by truck hatching eggs that could not be flown into Mali from Europe. And Koudijs itself has transported concentrates from our local storage in Ivory Coast, because it was a little bit difficult due to the lack of containers to export via Dakar in Senegal. So I think all in all, everybody is now aware that strengthening the local economy and investing locally is in the future very important.
And is Koudijs planning to do so anytime soon, to tap into this investment opportunity to invest locally?
Nothing is moving soon in Africa, Marina. It took us 5 years to start in Ghana, but the factory is now there. And we are together with Group Silla in Mali looking at the possibility to invest in a local feed mill. And I'm sure it'll come in the future, but how soon, we don't know.
Okay. Thank you, Menno. I will go back to His Excellency Ambassador Jolke. We're talking about doing business in Mali and how to promote trade and investment there, to encourage private sector from the Netherlands to do business in Mali, and Malian private sector to do business with their Dutch counterparts. What does the embassy do to build stronger economic ties between the Netherlands and Mali? And perhaps there are some programs or ideas of upcoming initiative that the embassy is working on to in order to boost the trade and investment relations between Mali and the Netherlands. Could you please say something about that?
Yes, thank you. Well, in fact, of course, we have to work through the Corona crisis now and pick up again when possibilities are better there. We continue with the programs we had, with all the networking, with all the trade relations, the trade missions. We continue working through NABC. RVO is quite active in the region, the wider region, because we're not only covering Mali, we're also covering Burkina and Niger, with investments, important investments in infrastructure. Energy needs to be, energy shortage is always a problem in Mali, also for private sector. So investments in energy sector are important. And the usual programs that we have from the Netherlands. So as an embassy, we do have a number of programs linked to certainly to the agricultural sector. So we're working on improving the seed sector. We're working on improving a number of value chains when it comes to potatoes, when it comes to fish, when it comes to, we are still active in the rice with the Office de Niger, an old standing partner of the Netherlands. And we are having a partnership with them on improving water efficiency. So the fish and the onions, let's not forget the onions, important products. We are in close contact with the mango producers. So a lot of things going on in the agriculture in Mali. We continue to boost the contacts and the networking for import, export, and for having investments in Mali.
Thank you very much, Ambassador Jolke. Then I will turn to Moussa to also, I can imagine with this crisis, it's difficult also to really promote investments, but nevertheless, it remains more than important to do so. From your own point of view, what are the main reasons why foreign companies, despite the current situation, should look at Mali as a business and investment destination? What makes Mali different from other countries in the region? What makes Mali unique? When the ambassador talked about regional collaboration, the regional approach. So from the perspective of complementarity, how is Mali, what makes Mali unique, and what are the benefits of foreign companies to do business in Mali?
We still offer a very attractive investment code and a good legal framework in line with investors' expectations. So those are very important to know, and we are still working to improve the investment environment. So, but in addition, API Mali is focused on two main areas in terms of investment promotion. One is the untapped potential that exists in Mali, essentially focused on four key sectors. The Excellencies talk about the energy sector. That is one of our key priority sectors we are promoting. We are also focused on agriculture, livestock, and infrastructure. So those, again, four sectors are really key for us in terms of investment promotion. The second area for us, API Mali, is our aim to promote to transform our continental situation into advantages. We can do that because Mali has a strategic position in West Africa. We are, as I said, at the heart of a market of 300 million consumers, ECOWAS market. We are bordered by 7 countries, and we are less than 1 hour flight from 7 capital cities. So our aim is to become a West Africa hub for energy, renewable energy, especially solar energy and agribusiness. So this is really our aim and our key objective also. So the last reason, not the least, is linked to the fact that investing in Mali is really profitable. The return on investment is high, and so that's lead me to say doing business in Mali is profitable.
Thank you very much, Moussa. I think that's a clear message, and I'm sure Menno can also confirm it, that doing business, it's possible to do business, it's profitable, you can make money in Mali. Right, Menno?
For sure, Marina. It's important to invest in the country, to pay visits, to talk to people. Sometimes it's more important whom you know than what you know, it seems. And but if you work with the people, you invest in relations, you train them, it's possible to build up a good market. And an example that is really paying off is, for instance, the fish culture. Koudijs spent a lot of time in poultry, and we are well known for that. But last year we started together with our partner, the biggest importer, Group Silla, to import fish feed. He's also investing in a local hatchery to produce the small fish, tilapia and clarias. And it is really inspiring to see that in that way you can produce food locally, good quality. You can create jobs. You can prevent that people are going to move away from rural areas to the cities where there's no jobs. And also for the position of women, it's very good because some of them, they produce fish and they create their own income. So in that way, I believe that we can really move forward. And it is very good to stimulate entrepreneurial qualities in these local people. To stimulate agricultural development.
Thank you, Menno. And I will go back to Aminata. Aminata, you are a woman entrepreneur, and now the world is slightly moving towards, let's say, digital business. What will be, let's say, the advice that you will give to other entrepreneurs now to really, for them to tap into the opportunities that are there? Yes, there are some challenges, but there are tremendous opportunities to do business, to make money. What will be your message or your advice to other Malian companies, and an advice also perhaps to interested Dutch companies that want to explore business opportunities in Mali?
Yeah. I would like to start to give to all these women, because in the beginning I grew up in Belgium, so I didn't know how to even speak French. I'm speaking only Flemish, so it was really hard when I came back in Mali the first time, because my mother is from Rwanda and my dad is from Mali. So this was a bigger challenge for me to come in Mali. So when I came here, I see a lot of opportunity to invest in Mali. And I tried the digital, because at that time, there was nobody who invest in, I didn't know nobody who did digital investing, or how do you say it? Was in a business like in digital. So I was trying a lot of things. And my advice to say to all the people who in Belgium, in France or whatever, to come invest in Mali, because there is more opportunity in Mali than whatever in the real estate, like agriculture and trade and digital, and you can try a lot of new things, you know. And like my friend Moussa, I even registered my company, Smart Marketing, in API. So there's a lot of the government helps young startup who wants to invest in Mali, and so I'm just saying, just come in Mali and invest. It's a good thing, yeah.
Okay, thank you, Aminata.
And as embassy, what we did is just to inform companies what is the situation in Mali, how we can find out all smart solution about COVID, and how to be founded at the central level for Dutch company which are active in Mali, because we have a COVID fund now available at the Hague. which is a sort of response of COVID for companies which are working in Sahel region, mainly in Mali, Burkina, and Niger.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mamadou, for sharing this important information. I'm sure the participants, we have Dutch private sector, Malian private sector connected. And please, if you would like to have more information, feel free to chat and send a message to Mamadou to have more access to more detailed explanation. I see a question coming in from Khalifa, and the question is addressed to Menno. Please, what are the challenges you're facing to build a factory in Mali? Talking about policy, economy, security, markets. That's a question to you, Menno.
There are several issues before we start to invest locally with our partners. You have to be sure that the market is ready for it, that there is enough ingredients that you can buy locally of the quality that is suitable to use, but especially also financing a project like that. We do not really want to invest in a small feed factory. If we invest in a feed factory locally, you must really make the difference in terms of quality and cost price in order to help the industry one step ahead. And it takes sometimes a couple of years. It's not easy. We started 5 years ago in Ghana with a project for a feed factory, and it is completed this year. It's only due to Covid-19 that it didn't start yet, but it's completely ready. So we are now busy for 2 years to study the possibilities in Mali, and I'm sure it will come. But we do not know when. In Africa, it's sometimes 2 steps ahead, 1 step backwards. It's not always easy.
You have to be patient and persistent.
Yeah.
You know, exactly. Okay. Another question is from Idrissa Diarra, currently living in France. I think this question, as I read it, I will address it to Moussa and Aminata. Moussa, from the perspective of where the kind of support that is given to diaspora, because Idrissa is currently living in France and plans to go back to Mali and create a company in the field of agriculture. So the question is, what advice can I have from you, or as far as local entities, from administrative and socioeconomic aspects? So Moussa, could you say something about the support that is offered to diaspora that wants to invest back home?
Of course, thank you to Idrissa for his question and his interest to invest in Mali, to come and be part of the investors. So the first thing is to go on API Mali website and see what are the administrative requirements to create a company. So, and you can also reach on us via email. There is a dedicated email address, and we'd be more than happy to assist him and give him all the necessary information to allow him start his business in Mali. This is very simple, and we'll be once again happy to assist him.
Thank you very much, Moussa. Aminata, any advice to Idrissa?
I would like to advise him to, to be honest, here in Mali, the mentality for women to invest in Mali or do business is really hard, to be honest. But for a man, it's easier. Anyway, is to say to believe in his business, not to listen to the people or family, whatever. Just to believe in your business and just try. So come in Mali and just do it, because for me, like I said, it was really hard in the beginning because you don't know anyone, you didn't have your family or whatever. But
Yes.
there's now many people who come and invest in Mali. So yeah, it's possible. So just believe in yourself, believe in your business, and try. Voilà.
And Aminata, you said it's difficult for women to do business in Mali. So could you maybe elaborate on that, and how did you succeed? Because you set up your company and you're up and running.
Yeah, like I said, for women here, I'm saying about the mentality here in Mali. Like here, every woman needs only to cook, clean how to say it, take care of the kids, stay home. But now I'm really happy in 2020. Like there's a lot of women who is working, who doing business more than men. I'm sorry, Moussa maybe can say if I'm wrong or what, but I'm happy now that there's a lot of women who open their eyes and just go for it. So and fight for her future. What was the other question?
Not it was the advice, but you already answered that. I will get back to Moussa if we have time to say something about how they are supporting women entrepreneurs also to be more present in business. But I see we have some more questions coming in the Q&A from Delphine. With the pandemic, where do you see the future with Mali, maybe in the coming months, considering the current travel restriction? Who wants to take that question? Maybe Moussa or the ambassador?
Maybe I can invite Delphine and other participants to build on Aminata experience, because she tells us that her business is growing fast despite this context. So that's mean all kind of business in her area using new technologies could be really interesting from now in Mali due to this pandemic.
Okay, well, thank you, Moussa. We have a question from Petra. Petra says, I understand Menno Verbrugge's point that the strengthening in the local economy is now a challenge and an opportunity. And also Aminata, who says that e-commerce is profitable, but their companies were already there. However, what does COVID-19 mean for entering the market now as a new investor from outside or setting up a new company? I leave it up to all of you who want to take a try on this question. What does COVID-19 mean for entering the markets for new investors? Yes, Menno.
To be honest, I don't think it will be making it easier. It took ourselves a couple of years to really build up a market. And once you're in, and once you found the right partners, which might take a couple of years, then you can change your strategy and adapt to the circumstances. But if you want to start now, maybe you have to choose a complete new approach, and start something completely new, like e-commerce or something that is not there yet. But in the existing business, to start now, to be honest, I don't think it will be easier now with the COVID-19.
Thank you, Menno. I think I see that there's some questions in the chat from Brenda Pennell from Cordate Investment Management. Can the panelists share their views on the future of the franc CFA? particularly in the context of the economic slowdown in the region that is expected as a result of COVID-19? And how might SMEs in Mali be affected? Mamadou, Moussa, maybe?
Well, I think as for now, as long as I've been in Mali in the past 4 years, the franc has been straightly connected to the euro, so we don't have, I haven't seen any change. So this is not so much an economic question, this is a political question on whether the franc CFA will remain connected to the euro. Now, of course, there are some debates possible about that, and there are some huge advantages, but also some disadvantages. Economists would not agree. It's good for financial stability. Maybe it's not good for investments and export opportunities in the long term. But I consider this not to be a question so much linked to COVID or to decrease in growth, but to a political issue on how the region will organize its monetary policies, and whether in the end there would be a kind of more independent from European policies, their own monetary policies and exchange rate policies. But for now, I don't think the question is very relevant to the COVID as we see it right now and the perspectives. And on the question, I think the previous question, I fully agree with Menno that in order to do business, you need to know the people, you need to be able to come, I think. So to start a business, not being able to have direct contacts is difficult. But then on the other hand, as I said, we don't know yet where things will be heading with COVID in Africa. And the lockdowns in surrounding countries, they may have had the longest time, might reappear when when the crisis gets worse. But I would think that over the next 2-3 months, business contacts could be more normal again than they have been in the past 3 months. But this is not something to have guarantees upon. That's the problem with COVID at this moment, that it's very difficult to predict how things will look like in September, October.
Exactly. Thank you very much, Ambassador.
And what I want to add that about the CFA status is also it is a regional question. It is not only about Mali. It's a regional question and political question, and maybe it will be remain for at the least the 2 or 1.5 year before to make any decision about the CFA. It will take time.
Thank you very much, Ambassador. Thank you, Mamadou. We have a question here, a very long, lot of questions from Peter Driessen, a geologist who participated to the Invest in Mali conference in Bamako in 2017. And he said Mali had an interest in further exploration of Malian resources. And he met with ministerial delegates at the Regional Oil and Gas Conference in Dakar in January 2020. And there were indications of natural hydrogen resources in the country held by the company Petroma and Hydroma. So any such resource could help Mali with access to energy for local business as well as agriculture. And his question is, where can I find subsidies or investments for my startup for such research and development for geological studies on natural resources, especially hydrogen? Maybe to the Ambassador or Mamadou? Or
is have the most position to see, but we have a huge project on hydrogen here in Mali, and I think we are really optimistic about the good the going on. Let's say the concretization of this project. It is not far from Bamako. It's just about 15 minutes, and the promoter is Mr. Diallo, the former Petroma managing director, and I think he has a lot of commitment with technical assistance from abroad, mainly from Canada, I think, or Australia, and the project is going very well, I think. But Moussa is maybe have Moussa has maybe the last information about this project. Moussa.
Okay.
Yeah, but maybe one thing to add to what Mamadou said in response to the question. In fact, for those kind of financing, we are, as an embassy, not more than a broker to existing funds for private sector development at the headquarter level. So we don't have programs at embassy level to finance those kind of startups or studies. So it all has to be done in contact. And of course, we can help, we can assist. We also like to see centrally funded programs to have their activities in Mali. That's what we're looking for together with you, to use the funds that are available.
Thank you very much, Ambassador Jolke. Thank you very much to all panelists, Menno, Moussa, Aminata, and also for Mamadou for also joining. Ambassador Jolke, thank you very much for sharing your insights. I think the message is clear. Come and invest and do business in Mali. Thank you very much for listening to us, and see you soon, hopefully very soon in Mali, and stay safe, all of you. Thank you very much. Bye.